Good morning, I'm Connie Hall. No, I'm just kidding. I'm standing in for Connie Hall. She's able to be here. I'm Glenn Satterfield on the Safety Committee. First of all, I'd like to take a plug before we go any farther. If, on the break, if you have an opportunity to go into the hallway, there's some historical items that I'd like for you to look at from the TIF, or the regional office, teaching office in Fairmont. It's to look at, not to take, but to look at it, and I think you'll really enjoy it. You get a chance to look at that. I'm going to go over some. This is from NAEMT, from some safety tips on the job to start with, some tidbits to go over with. It seems like every day we read about another EMS practitioner who has been hurt or killed in the line of duty. To help you and your EMS agency improve safety on the job and help build a culture of safety with our profession, please share the following tips that can help keep us alive and well so that we can truly enjoy the job that we love. Communicate, not just with your patients, but with the other members of your crew. You need to speak up when you see something that doesn't seem right, even if it means questioning the actions or more of a senior member. Poor communication causes mistakes, and mistakes cause accidents. Maintain situation awareness. When working on the roadway, be sure to wear the appropriate vest and keep an eye on the oncoming traffic. And I believe everybody in the room knows the appropriate color of the vest, which is lime green, breakaway. Take care of your tools. Your vehicle is your living. Respect it, take care of it, don't pencil whip the checklist, and respond aggressively to safety concerns. The same goes for many battery-powered devices you use. Remember, the most common cause of battery failure is lack of proper maintenance of devices you use. Remember, the most common cause of battery failure is the lack of power maintenance. Drive like a professional. We spend hours refreshing and updating our medical knowledge and skills, but we spend little or no time examining our driving habits. Driving in an emergency condition is half of our job, and we need to be good at that as we are doing a patient assessment. Texting while driving is absolutely a no-no. Watch your back. In this case, that means knowing how to lift safely, making sure you have enough help to keep from hurting your back. The sad fact is that one of our every 4 EMS workers will suffer a career-ending back injury within the first 4 years of service. We can do better than that. Protect yourself from violence. Remember that patients, relatives, or crowds can become difficult if they don't understand why you're moving toward the hospital. If verbal, it doesn't work, things like that are going to turn ugly. Get out as soon as you can. Take care of your body. It is difficult to eat properly while you're working on an ambulance, but planning ahead can help you avoid the need to exist on junk food. The needs that have worked more than one job to make a decent living. And make sure you get enough rest. When you're overtired, not only they're more likely to make mistakes, but you're also to get hurt. Remember, you can only do simple exercises, stretches while you're on duty to keep from getting hurt. And if you want to learn more from this, go to NAEMT EMS Safety. And before I go any farther, Vicki, if you could do a report on pediatric safety before we go on any information on that.
The only thing we are working on right now, well, not the only thing we're working on right now, one of the things we're working on right now is I've got $40,000 worth of funding to purchase some ACRs. What we didn't fully understand was the exact cost of ACRs and exactly how they set up, but they come in different tiers. So they're in the neighborhood of $800 each. So we're going to have enough to purchase $40,000 worth of those and probably determine who gets them based on data, who's running the calls. We haven't really figured that out yet. Jerry and I talked about that some.
Some people are trying to figure out what ACRs are.
Jeff, you know the ACR stuff best.
They come in 3 different sizes. They go from 4 to 99 pounds, where the PD makes limited to a smaller size. It's basically a 5-point restraint system that uses the buckles just like any other EMS strap uses. The buckles go on the rails of the strap, the cot, and then you just put the harness on the child and then buckle it in. They can be supine, seated, however you need to manage the child, but they are expensive.
Do all 3 come together in
It's
one
one
pack?
kit.
And so what are they, like, infant 4 to so many pounds?
The individual ones I can't remember, but I know the range of all 3 of them together goes 4 to 99 pounds, so it's a pretty broad range.
Oh, you got extra small, 4 to 11, small, 11 to 26, medium, 22 to 55, and large, 44 to 99.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. And actually, I've got to start probably in the next week or so trying to get those ordered through our purchasing system, which will take some time. But we'll be getting information out there as we figure out how we're gonna disseminate these. Another thing to go along with what Glenn was saying about self-care from the EMS provider. EMSC has had a committee that's been working for almost 3 years now, and we're almost to the end of it. A behavioral/psychiatric emergency training. As a part of it, it's a big focus on field providers. How do we keep you safe? How do we keep the patient safe? How do you take care of yourself? We're probably looking at 3 to 4 hour training, but it also works with, we've got a clinical psychologist who's been working with us on this for 3 years, but it also will teach some assessment skills, how to assess for a violence risk with your patient, how to assess suicide risk, homicide risk. What am I missing, Marcia? Some de-escalation skills. Because, you know, if you've ever worked a psych call, they're not easy calls. Not when it's a true psych call. But even beyond that, you know, you've got someone who's impaired. That's a behavioral emergency when you're in the back of that ambulance with them. So it's how to keep our providers safe. So hopefully in the next few months, we'll be looking at rolling this out to the field. And it'll be provided free. We're doing it as a train the trainer module. So we'll be able to get people there and they can go back and train their agencies. That's being provided as part of EMSC. That's pretty much what I got.
Any other further questions for Vicki? Anything else for that? I want to talk a little bit now on carfentanil and opiate addiction. Some information. I'm far from an expert from this, and then if anybody here has any input, please feel free to speak up on this, please. I want to start with ongoing information. Carfentanil and opiate addiction, unlike anamorphine derivatives, heroin, or other opiate narcotics, carfentanil does not lead to addiction. It's too powerful for humans who have developed a tolerance too strong for narcotics like heroin or fentanyl. Even for people who have struggled with addiction to powerful narcotics, doses the size of a grain of salt can rapidly lead to an overdose and death. However, carfentanil has found cutting heroin and even fentanyl sold in the streets, starting in July of 2016 in the Ohio area. When 35 overdoses and 6 deaths occur in a span of 3 days, law enforcement and emergency personnel warn that carfentanil sold illicitly looks like other drugs found on the street, including cocaine and heroin, because it is odorless, it's a white powder. Carfentanil, like fentanyl, has been found cutting heroin and odor to increase, potentially increase heroin dealer supplies of this substance. While adding fentanyl to heroin has led to an epidemic of overdoses, Fentanyl has led to deadly overdoses much faster. For comparison, according to like if you use a sedation on an elephant, veterinarians use it. The dose of carfentanil safely it's 100 times. Excuse me. Can safely administer to sedate a wild animal, elephant, which can weigh over 1 ton, is only 13 milligrams. So a dose of fentanyl, 100 times less powerful than carfentanil, can safely be administered to a human adult is up to 100 micrograms per hour, equivalent of 0.1 milligrams. So, according to an article from Washington Post, carfentanil deadliness can be expressed in a few different ways. First, the Buffalo Field campaign based out of Yellowstone National Park warns that humans should not eat the meat of bison who have been sedated with carfentanil. So we have a PowerPoint presentation here. Oh, do you have any questions on this, which I probably can't answer?
Sleeping after lunch is not good.
Deputy Administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration. And I want to take a minute today to talk to you about something very important. As a matter of fact, it could kill you, and that's fentanyl. Fentanyl now is being sold as heroin in virtually every corner of our country. It's produced clandestinely in Mexico and comes directly from China. It is 40 to 50 times stronger than street-level heroin. A very small amount ingested or absorbed through your skin can kill you. Many times people that purchase this on the street or sell it on the street have no idea it's fentanyl and just how deadly a minute amount can be. But don't just listen to me. Listen to these 2 hard-working cops in which fentanyl almost got the best of them.
In the process of sealing the bag, just out of force of habit, I grabbed the bag and I closed it up, forcing the air out of it so I get a good seal. And when I did that, a bunch of it poofed up into the air, right in our face, and we ended up inhaling it.
I felt like my body was shutting down. People around me said that I looked really white, I lost color. And it just really felt like, thought that was it. I thought I was dying. That's what my body felt like. If I could imagine or describe a feeling where your body's completely shutting down and preparing to stop living, that's the feeling I felt.
You actually felt like you were dying. You couldn't breathe. Very disoriented. And everything you did was exaggerated in your mind, I guess. It was the most bizarre feeling that I never ever would want to feel again, to be honest with you. And it was just a little bit. It was just a little bit of powder just puffed up in the air. It wasn't like the whole bag had dumped down or anything like that. It was just a very minuscule amount. And that's the scary thing about it. It was so quick and such a small amount that we didn't even have time to think.
And finally, again, fentanyl can kill you. I urge you, if you encounter this during your daily duties, please don't field test in your car or on the street or take it back to the office. Transport it directly to a laboratory where it can be safely handled and tested. And one other thing, fentanyl can kill our canine companions and partners just as easy as it can humans. So please take precautions for their safety too. Thanks for listening. If you need any more information about fentanyl, please call your local DEA office. Appreciate the time. Stay safe out there.
Before we move any further on this short PowerPoint presentation, does anybody have a good any point or information that they can add to this information before we go on? Or thoughts or anything that they come across information on this? So the history of fentanyl. Fentanyl is also known as fentanyl, as an opioid pain medication with rapid onset and short duration of action. It's a potent agonist of opioid receptors. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, but some fentanyl analogies which is designed to mimic the pharmacological effects of the original drug, and it was 10,000 times more potent than morphine. So this is things that I'm speaking to the choir, the brand names and information. You guys know this stuff here, so we can continue on that one. So there's legal forms of fentanyl are prescribed. You guys are familiar with that. So the first count of fentanyl deaths in 2016 is up 540% in 3 years. And this is as of September 2017 from the New York Times. Accidental exposure by first responders is a real danger. And this is what we talked about earlier about the DLY carfentanil. It's 100 times stronger than fentanyl. So the recommendation is for the EMS responders, and obviously this is probably still on our ambulance as part of the equipment, but individual PE kits, first responders who may encounter fentanyl or fentanyl-related substance should maintain an individual their own personal PE kit, which includes nitrate gloves, N95 dust masks, sturdy eye protections, paper coveralls, shoes, and your own personal Narcan injectors. Do not use hand sanitizers. Hand sanitizer may contain alcohol, a skin penetrating, which may increase the absorption of the fentanyl through the skin. Your safety always comes first. So consider adding additional Narcan to our ambulances for the EMS personnel. It should be used solely for resuscitation of your EMS crews should an accidental exposure occur with this mixture. And this is the website that was taken from if you need any further information or if you want to look up on this, that's more of more information than I can give you. This presentation here was Connie Hall wanted me to present this to you guys and safety community. So if you have any questions or more information that you may be able to give, then I can on this.
You've had officers exposed?
Yes.
We've had a couple. So actually, one of them was bagging evidence and spilled it in their keyboard, but didn't bother to clean their keyboard up. So later on throughout the day, they're taking reports and they start feeling sick to their stomach. Go to the hospital for a couple hours. Connie's comment to me was she wanted to bring this out to the safety committee and basically throw it out there as a recommendation. There is no, right now we have a drug list and that's the minimum quantities you have to have. Okay, so I don't know that we need any action to say we're going to carry additional. What the safety committee's recommendation is they would like to see the ambulances keep Narcan on the truck specifically designated for the crew. So that's kind of where their recommendation is headed to. But like I said, I don't know if there's any official action needed on that because you're already allowed to carry as much as you want, but they want it to be an official recommendation from the safety committee to do so.
Is there any shortages of Narcan out there, Dr. Mills, that you know of?
There was, but right now I don't think there is.
It's back, okay.
It's available because they're making good money on it. You can't get epinephrine.
Is there any update, either Melissa or Dr. Mills from the MS office? I know you sent out the information about a grant program, or it was a month or so back, about how much naloxone you used, how much the cost was, things like that. I don't know.
I've not gotten a lot of response from agencies on that. Two things that I can update you on. We did apply for a SAMHSA First Responder grant that would provide for EMS agencies to be distributing naloxone, as well as the state police. But we haven't been notified of the notice of award, so I don't know if we've been awarded that grant or not. It would be approximately $800,000 over a 4-year period of time, so it would provide some assistance. The second thing is we've been working with the Bureau for Medical Services, Medicaid. They are working on a pilot project. It's the first of its kind in the country to provide reimbursement to EMS agencies for the administration of naloxone. And that was the reason for the survey that was sent out, because they're working on their rate setting now. So they need some information from us in order to help them set the rates appropriately. So, like I said, I've not gotten anything back on that, so.
Who did you send that to? Was that the official reps? Or,
Yes.
and maybe that's, is it possible to resend that? Is there still time to come back out with a little more emphasis or something? I don't know. Because anytime there's an opportunity to receive funds, it should maybe put something back out there again.
What do you want me to send it out to?
You want it out in constant contact? Paul?
Send it out to the official reps again and say, hey, dummies, do you want money or not?
Email or Facebook?
I am not sure. It was a difficult form to fill out. Did anybody else receive that email if you got it as official rep? It asked a lot of questions, like how many times did you use it, what's the average cost, there was some questions in there that made it so you had to really kind of get into billing and stuff if you're really going to look at it. But on the other hand, I know I wasn't as perfect as I could have been. I just went through looking at this meeting and I thought, dang, I hope everybody else sent that in. So maybe it would be good to send it back out and give everybody one more shot. Maybe we try to push that a little bit more with. Is there a deadline on that, do you know of, or is it?
They haven't given me a deadline, but we're gonna have our annual agency rep meeting in October, and they would like to do training of our agencies at that time.
Because maybe we could try to push that out some other way too, Nicole. There's something else to try to get more emphasis out there on.
We're working with the HIDA group. We're starting to get some pretty good intel back when a lot of our drugs come out of Baltimore, and we're getting some pretty good intel group, and I think y'all are getting some. It gives us alerts when there's a large number of overdoses in Baltimore and Monroe County, and it all comes down the Route 70 corridor right into us. And some bugs are being worked out, but it's a pretty good resource on tracking this stuff so you can prepare for a little bit spike in drug use. And when a more pure shipment is coming through your area, you know that, be aware and use extra vigilance when you're handling this stuff.
Are you using the HIDA Insta Reporting app? Is
Yes,
that
we
what
are.
you're using?
Yes.
I think that's a really great tool. And I would encourage all EMS agencies to go through their counties and their HIDA agencies and look into being a part of that.
One of the things that we did has probably been the most helpful is we arranged classes for all of our employees with the regional task force.
Right.
State police come in, and they did it geared for the providers to show us what we're looking at, signs, show us the instruments, and it's really helped our people be more situationally aware. It's a lot better than what you get on these videos, because it was just down on what's hitting us. And they was real good to work with and had no problem coming in. We run our people through it.
Anything else? Anybody else have anything for safety committee?
Is there another one? Melissa, did you want a report from Washington with Mike Thomas during this subcommittee?
Do we want it during safety or is that, I thought we wanted it the NSAC update from the big meeting.
Okay.
That's all I have. Anybody else have anything else to comment on this, what we just went over?
Are any of the other counties, are you guys using, as far as public alerts, things like that, when you have a more pure or a bad batch coming through? Well, we've done a couple of times. We've had several come through our county, we use the warrant system or the code red system, and we actually put it out to the public to let them know that there's potential bad batch coming through the area. And, we had a couple instances where we were having multiple in a row during that day, and we put it out that there's a public safety alert, that there's a potential bad batch in our area, and whether it was coincidence or not, they just stopped. So I don't know if you're involved with the public in those, you know, yeah, we let each other know, but are you letting the public know? I'm just curious who else does that.
So maybe do something on like, to educate the public awareness.
Well, and that's what we did, when we're just, you know, we had a day, Melissa's aware of, you know, we had 17 inside 4 hours, and we just put it out on our warrant system and our code red system. You know, EMS has seen a dramatic uptick in heroin overdoses today. You know, exercise caution, you know, it's not, I mean, I realize it seems like it seems silly to do that, but even the drug addicts will pay attention when you tell them there's something bad out there. So, just a thought, that's what we've done twice, and coincidence or not, they just stopped. So,
What business?
we have two methods in our county. We use the warrant system, and we also, well, actually three. We use the code red system that we're putting with your OES, and we use our Facebook page, or EMS and OES Facebook page. There's a lot of people in our county who follow it, and like I said, coincidence or not, if you notice an uptick in overdoses, you can claim that there's a bad batch, and at least put it out there, because even the drug addicts will pay attention to it.
And your local Homeland Security people have a tool in place as well that you could, it's free. You just download the app on your phone, it will send you alerts, and you actually subscribe to what you want to see, like whether it's hurricane or rain or
Not
river
Nixle,
forecast.
is it?
Huh?
Is it Nixle?
No, I'll look it up here in a second, but that is a piece, and they told us the other day that they can add whatever we wanted in there to be able to send
And
stuff
I
out.
think that serves to, you know, it raises public awareness. And I just wonder if anybody else we're doing that also. Like I said, that's something we started doing. We noticed a dramatic uptick. And we can, the way our county is laid out geographically, kind of like he mentioned, he has his I-74 corridor or whatever it is. You know, we had the same issue. We don't know exactly where it's going to be next, but we can follow it all the way around our county. So if we have 3 or 4 here, 3 or 4 here, then we put out an alert that says, you know, we've seen a dramatic uptick in heroin overdoses today. You know, can't stop you from using it, but exercise caution, and it seems to just stop it.
Are you all involved with the HIDE program?
No, I was just taking notes on that. Y'all mentioned
Now
it.
go through the information.
That's pretty cool. It's an app on your phone too, and literally when you hit one button, and it documents the location, it GPSes it. There's really, you don't fill in any information in it. You just hit the button on your phone, whether you gave Narcan, didn't give Narcan, whether there's a death or not. Usually, I mean, it's a selection. You hit that button, done. For every call you're on. If you do it while you're on scene, it GPS is there, puts a dot on a map, and then you can start mapping out where you're having your biggest influx at.
Yeah, like I said, that's what I shared with, they had that Narcan cluster meeting that we went to last month in Charleston. And I just wondered who else did that besides us. We just wanted to notify them also.
On the highway.
No, there was concern that it would draw people to the drug dealers with good stuff.
I know in our area, the fields were the issue, and that's why everybody transitioned to heroin. And I don't know so much that they wanted to use beverages when they get their fix, but it just seems like it helped us as far as stomping out the brush fire, if you will, when it starts that day. So,
Swift 911 was that app that Homeland Security has. And all your local people should have access to that, your local Homeland Security.
So is there any comment about, is it HIDA, what is it that?
HIDTA, High Intensity Drug Task Force. For drug.
Say it one more time, HIDTA.
DTA. High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area.
Paul, if you want to contact for them, I can.
Yeah, what I guess is, is OMS, from a HIPAA / I'm sure there's protections, has that been endorsed? Is that something that would go out? Is that something that, in conjunction with what OMS is looking at doing with the reimbursement from BMS or Medicaid, and is that part of something that may go out to official reps to
There's no
say?
patient information for
Yeah,
them,
it's all
everything, so
HIPAA
there is no HIPAA compliance with it.
So, I guess what I'm saying is that something that's endorsed by OMS that everyone should be doing to try to track it in West Virginia from EMS perspective versus trying to do it from run sheets? Because we get calls for that information all the time about how many times there's an overdose or how many times Narcan's used. And it's difficult sometimes because on an EPCR, you don't necessarily put in that it's an opiate overdose. You know, it's an unconscious unknown or cardiac arrest or all these other reasons.
Right.
And so then we're trying to track it by just naloxone use or something. Is that something that you think is a statewide initiative, or are you still looking at that?
HIDA would very much like for it to be a statewide initiative. We have not mandated it. At this point, we're kind of leaving it up to the agencies as HIDA is contacting them. So I'm doing an email now, and I'll send you an introduction to Yolanda Sowers.
And it's really different from the run sheet. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an instant reporting system that has very little patient information whatsoever. I mean, I guess if you knew somebody died of an overdose on Smith Street and you saw it on the map, you'd know who died on Smith Street, but you already knew that. So I don't see how there would be a problem. But it's entirely different from the run sheet information. And it is, as I understand it, and Jamie, you'd be better than I am, this is a subscription thing. You have to work with HIDA in order to be a part of the system, and you have to sign information with the HIDA that how you're going to use the data and what you're going to use it for.
And not everybody sees the map. Not everybody can
No.
see the map that has the dots on. That's an administrative thing. You've got to have a
Right.
special login to get in and even see that. So no one sees that information. All the information is actually hidden. Once you hit the button, it's hidden. Nobody sees it. I mean, it's not available to the community.
So 3 other quick questions. So the squad would have each EMT and paramedic have to create their own login to do this? Because it would be from their phone.
It would be an app on their phone.
They can do their own login. We have one login for our department. And everybody in the department uses the same login. But they can have their individual one if they want. And it doesn't have to be from the phone. You can do it from a computer. The only issue with the computer is you have to manually enter the address you were at. It doesn't GPS it. But that's the only information that you actually have to manually enter is the address if you did it from a computer.
So if there was a recommendation, and you think it should be one per agency to track it, or do you think
It'd be up to the
it's?
agency.
It depends on your agency. And we also include Jefferson. I don't know if Berkeley's involved with it. There's a lot more people being dumped at the hospitals, and we want to be able to track that too.
So the hospitals have access.
So the
The
hospitals.
hospital has access. They have a login too. And there again, it's all HIPAA compliant. All they're doing is marking on there, like Jamie said. We had overdose dropped off here, and 3 or 4 different bullet points that you can mark, and it's sent to a system, and the only people allowed to see that are the administrators. And you get a heat map on where the spikes of activity are, and you get notifications of when there's a spike in Baltimore or Anne Arundel County, and it's coming here. I've gotten a couple of spikes. Warrensburg's a bad place. But we get spikes from them, and we know within the same day or the next day it's coming our way.
And is this a federally backed program, or is it a company?
Yes. Program.
Yep.
Through the Office of Drug Control Policy.
You guys want to ask, not any.
Campbell, do you guys do this?
Negative.
You know, what are you guys doing about transporting? I know that, we were looking at changing our policy interdepartmental, as far as show up, you give them the Narcan, you get a refusal from them, and you transport them while they're unresponsive. What are you doing as far as loading go?
Well, our goal is to give enough Narcan to restore the respiratory drive and not wake them up. We're getting about a 50-50 response. Most of the time they're waking up.
Yeah.
And then we're just having a conversation with them. Here's the deal. Here's how long the drug works. Here's how long Narcan works. If we leave, the chances are you're going to go back into the same situation.
I'm getting a lot of negative feedback from locally from, of course, the public, getting a lot of negative feedback from the hospital, from the social work departments. wanting to know, why aren't we transporting these patients to the hospital? They can't offer them help. They can't, because we're not putting them in front of the right audiences.
Yeah, because those patients have rights.
Yeah. But as far as, you know, I mean, any other unresponsible patient, we would let them go. I just wondered what everybody else was doing.
I think a lot of the problem, Dylan, is the family's already given either intranasal or they've given a 0.4 auto injector that they were given by the health department. By the time we get there, obviously it's not had time to work. So when we give the first dose per protocol, it all kicks in at the same time and they set up and give you a few choice words until you get out of their house. And that is an issue, and it's almost a daily issue right now.
That's what DC is doing.
And I've had them wake up in the ambulance and say, stop and let me out, and Medcom has said, you gotta stop and let them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Any other further comments or
Because
discussion?
we're not keeping them in the system. We're not keeping them in the system. We're giving them enough to wake them up. We're not titrating it up. You know, it doesn't seem to be happening. It doesn't get to the point where you can get them in the ambulance and when they wake up in the hospital, they're being evaluated by a physician. They're being offered the help that they need. We're getting a lot of negative feedback at the local level. So, like I said, I guess I just see this as an opportunity to ask what everybody else is doing.
It's fine. That's what you said all along.
Just another thought here is a safety concern is I've seen that when you give the Narcan and you're en route to the hospital, for example, when you're giving it, they started coming out of it. It only turns into a safety concern for the crew. It can be very violent and try to do harm to the EMS crew or the first responders as they're coming out of it.
So this is not NPCC or WVOMS policy, okay? It's Senate Bill 335. So they're gonna have to change law to change the process that we follow for these situations. And you know, I've heard a little bit of what you're hearing, but most of those people that are gonna refuse care are not gonna stay at the hospital for that treatment anyway. Not that that makes it better, but if they're gonna refuse from us, they're gonna refuse from the hospital.
I know I had 3 legislators knock on my door in the last 3 weeks. In my office wanting to know what we intend to do about it. That's why.
They passed the bills.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Nothing.
No, tell them, you can do something about it.
I mean, they passed the bill, and part of that bill says they have to have EMS treatment.
And I told them that was what that group was working towards. And I chance to talk to you, but they are, one on the Judiciary Committee, the other one is Finance Committee, and they're looking at what we can do. So that's a conversation we need to have. But there are several of them in our area who they feel like that we're enabling them just by getting refusals, so they are looking to change that. And I explained to them that there's a group that is currently working on maybe some positive solutions to that, but they're not there yet. So, like I said, right or wrong, I see this as the place to ask that what everybody else is doing.
I mean, whoever comes up with the answer and the fix for this is going to be a very wealthy individual. But as far as enabling, we're creating needle exchange programs. We're doing everything except providing them the drug. So, I mean, we can talk about how we're enabling them all day long, but I don't think allowing them to refuse, that's their right. That's not enabling them.
And that's a very dangerous thing to start eliminating.
It's the same principle as why can't the police arrest them? You know, it's not illegal to have the drug in you. So, you know, it's the same process. Why aren't the police arresting them? Because they can't.
And ultimately, if we transported every opiate overdose to the ER, we would just shut down all the ERs in about 5 hours. And that's the problem, because there's no place to send them out after that. There's no long-term care or rehab. We got to start at that end and work back with treatment centers to send those that do want to get off to kind of get back to that system. it's a, as we say at every meeting you go to, it's a community-wide, issue that, doesn't have a simple solution. And Narcan is not the solution, it's temporarily, allow somebody to wake back up, and doesn't really solve the problem at all.
I can tell you quite a few of those patients that are brought into the ER that are fully awake at the time, they don't stay in the ER. They want out of that ER and they want out now, and they are out of the ER before the crew has even finished their report. So whether you bring them into the ER or not, getting them to stay, you can talk to your blue in the face about what the consequences are if they leave. They're out of there. And so it really, whether you bring them into the ER or not, getting them to stay in there is a chore a lot of times.
I think looking at it a little different, and even at the city of Princeton, we worked on some things last night in council meeting against some of the health. We hired an attorney to sue. But we should look at a different aspect of the EMS. This is my feeling when we do it at our agency. Your task here and your licensure for community education, it's a long-term goal. You have to have a vision, long-term goal. You can't worry about what's happening now because those people are going to do the same. Recovery long-term is very low rate. We know that. But I think the community education aspect of this is very important for the EMS agencies, with Vicki and them, for children and things, to start at that level in the schools. Because we just, and everybody in here should experience, we grit our teeth every time we get a call at the middle school now of seizures. And Dr. Mills, you know what I'm talking about. They've got into it and took it on the way to school on the bus, and we've had several of those. So, and the other thing, talking with the legislators and approaching a little different governmental, they've had problems in the past getting grants because they haven't had the information. The numbers, is that correct, Dr. Mills? They haven't had the information back on actually what's going on, a significant number to apply for the grant money and get federal designation in here. So that's been a problem.
Anything else for safety? Let's adjourn at the next meeting is policy procedure protocol.
Thank you.